So Ohio State has lost to Michigan for the fourth time in a row. And the conversation has already come to, is Ryan Day still the right head coach for Ohio State? We got to talk about it. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We're fast tracking to 120,000 subscribers to this show where we talk about college football, talk about my love of college football 24/7, 365. That's what this show is for. That's what this channel was created to do. Been at this for some time, and I've never seen anything like I saw with Ohio State and Michigan today. Not unlike you. The number 2 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes need to get a win against Michigan to get into the Big Ten championship game, get an opportunity to avenge their only loss of the season against undefeated Oregon. And it feels like this is going to be academic, given that Ohio State has the roster that it has. And I don't mind telling you, it was studded. It is studded. From Will Howard to Quinshon Judkins to Travion Henderson to Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka. Donovan Jackson is good enough to move from left guard to left tackle. And then you get to the defense, talking about Caleb Downs, talking about Cody Simon, JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer, who made one hell of a play in this game and was really one of those guys that came back to Ohio State with the intention of just wanting to win this game, get himself a set of gold pants, and it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And they're going to have to live with that forever. But more than that, it is Ryan Day was given everything that he asked for and needed to win this game and then perhaps win the Big Ten championship. Both of those things are scuttled. They're gone. And you've got a faint chance of getting into the national championship with the good graces of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, which has happened to Ohio State after losing to Michigan before. They have been invited to play, and they've acquitted themselves well, right? They are missed field goal away from beating Georgia and then perhaps winning a national championship, and the narrative around Ryan Day is just that much different. But when you spend the kind of money that the collectives did on this roster and you allow for Ryan Day to go get his guy in Chip Kelly, and then you have this result of 13-10 where I don't think that Chip Kelly has called a worse offensive game plan in his career. I don't believe that Ryan Day has helped put together a worse offensive game plan. It felt for all that were watching the game that the offense had become vanilla and predictable and was running straight into the teeth of the Michigan defense, which is its front seven. Now, on the broadcast, we're spoiled. Joel Klatt is one of the 3 best at what he does. He's able to call the plays as they're happening. He sees it like a head coach on the field. He's telling you what needs to happen, why it's happening, and he's explaining to you what basically is getting under his skin about what he has seen or what is exciting him. And he kept saying over and over again, hey, spin the ball out to Jeremiah Smith. Spin the ball out to Emeka Egbuka. You have the advantage on the outside. Ryan Day and Chip Kelly could not make use of that. And Will Howard, when he did try to make a play, would throw it to the other team. 2 interceptions in this game, 175 yards passing. And this, again, is the game you're brought in to win as the grad transfer in Will Howard. So now we're at Ryan Day and what is going to happen next. I don't think that Ross Bjork is going to make any fast moves here in the next couple of days. I just don't see that happening. You've got at least one more week to find out if Ohio State gets to play in the college football playoff, in which case, yeah, you're going to want your head coach. So I don't even think he's entertaining this right now. I really don't think he is. I don't know that he's going to entertain it after the end of the season because, once again, Ohio State has won 10 games. They just have not beaten Michigan, and they have not won the Big Ten championship. So there's a couple ways to look at this. The first one is who you're going to get that's better. And I realize that there is a contingent of the Ohio State fan base that just does not want to hear that argument or that discussion. I understand. You want anybody else. You would settle for almost anybody else. You're asking me questions on the Twitters, on the threads, on the Instagrams. Yo, RJ, what do you think it would take to get Nick Saban to take this job at Ohio State? I don't think Nick Saban's coaching any more football. There's even folks that want Coach Meyer to come back, and there's others that are like, nah, we've been there before, but hey, at least he could beat Michigan, so maybe it's worth a shot. There are even some that want to go down the line and get some of the guys on his staff, like Brian Hartline, to perhaps take over those controls as head coach. I really don't think it's going to be about that. I don't. You're also going to see Ryan Day's buyout bandied about. It's like $37 million, which is an enormous number, but it's not as big a number as what Texas A&M was willing to put out to get Jimbo Fisher up out of there. And you know what? That worked for them because Mike Elko basically playing against Texas for the chance to play in the SEC championship game after they ousted Jimbo Fisher. And by the way, the guy that got that money together to get Jimbo Fisher up out of there was Ross Bjork before he decided to take this job at Ohio State. But I don't know that there's anybody out there that you get that is going to give you the kind of results that you want in the way that Ryan Day's been able to do it. Also, it's just going to be tough to find someone who's willing to come into this environment knowing what it is and compete right away. Like, that's the thing about this game, especially on the Ohio State fan base side, because they are ravenous about needing to win this game, and for good reason. But I think the carnage after the game, and really during the game, was an example of why it is so tough to be coached down there, man. You've got police that feel like they got to use pepper spray to break up fights. You've got Ohio State players that are refusing to let Michigan players plant a flag on their O block and make it an altercation. Then you've got Michigan fans talking down to Ohio State fans, Michigan players talking down to Ohio State players, Michigan coach talking about we got to be better on both sides. And I think there's something to that. I think there's quite a bit to comporting yourself with a measure of courtesy, politeness. Not so much that you got to be chummy with anybody, but yeah, you will show the character for which you were raised with in these situations. I'm always trying to find a way to reach folks in this moment, and I realize that not a whole lot of people want to be reached in this moment. I'm going to try anyway. I am a huge Formula One fan. Lewis Hamilton is my guy. I wrote a 4,000-word essay about him and why that is at Fox. And I say that to say I knew that Max Verstappen had won the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and the World Drivers' Championship under, let's say, a wild interpretation of the rules. And I could see how much it hurt Lewis to have that 8th World Championship, which would have set him apart as the best racer who has ever lived, taken away from him. He went into the garage. He came out, and he showed class. He showed a level of magnanimity that serves to underscore why he is Sir Lewis Hamilton and not just Lewis Hamilton. And that's basically, I think, what a lot of people wanted to see from both Ohio State and Michigan. But there's that Michigan fan, there's that Ohio State fan, miss me with all that, dog. I don't care nothing about no British knight. I understand, right? I should say, don't care nothing about no British knights unless they on my feet. There's a 90s kid out there that giggled. I also want to acknowledge here that there's the John Cooper aspect of what Ryan Day is going through right now because it's on par. He is 1-4 against Michigan. And the reason that we keep referencing John Cooper, for those of you that are unfamiliar, John Cooper is the most successful Ohio State coach that Ohio State fans can't stand. As a matter of fact, the way that I tend to look at this is I always try to keep his resume pretty well close because I end up having to reference it when I'm talking to folks. Now, John Cooper is also kind of special to me because he was at TU, my alma mater, University of Tulsa, before he was at Ohio State and got to do what he did. But he finished at Ohio State with a record of 111, 43, and 4. Makes him the second winningest coach in Ohio State history behind Woody Hayes. He also coached Ohio State to its first losing season in 22 years in his first year, 1988, and that was 4 straight years of losing to Michigan before he was allowed to dig himself out, kind of, sort of, meaning it didn't quite go as quickly or as well as you think. But we're talking about a guy that helped produce guys like Mike Vrabel, a guy that some of y'all believe could come in here and clean up what Ryan Day cannot. Dave Boston, Corey Stringer, Joey Galloway, Ahmad Plummer, Alonzo Spellman. We keep going here, man. It's also a guy that had Terry Glenn. He had Eddie George. He had Orlando Pace. He won a Rose Bowl. But he also finished 2-10-1 against Michigan. And at some point, something's got to give. So when he went 6-6 and they could go get Jim Tressel, they went and got Jim Tressel. And in a couple of years, Jim Tressel not only had you beaten Michigan, had you win the national championship. So if that is the kind of calculus that you're looking to use, fine. You show me the next Jim Tressel. You show me that guy is going to be Jim Tressel, and we can go from there. But I doubt that you can do that. I know this, though. Even if something is going to happen, and I don't think that it will, it won't happen until after the selection committee makes its final rankings in over a week. So hold your water for then. But for now, know that I have come out here to tell you it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to be angry about this. And there is going to be that Michigan fan that's got nasty things to say. There's going to be that Ohio State fan that's got nasty things to say. Just take a look at the comments in this channel, man. They be coming for me all the time. But if you are asking yourself, what is it going to take from you to beat Michigan as an Ohio State fan, or what is it going to take from a Michigan fan to continue to run it up on Ohio State? Know that it ain't you. That's the issue. But I'm not sure that Ryan Day is the issue either. I think on this day, in this game, for whatever reason, Michigan has the mojo that once belonged to Ohio State. And it's going to go for as long as it needs to go because, remember, Ohio State won this game for damn near a decade without giving it back to Michigan. And now Michigan's up to 4, and they're probably looking for a few more.